All right, it's super inexpensive, does need a little bit of work, but today we're going to take a look at the Stansport Scout backpacking tent. A lot of people ask me when they're starting to get prepared, what's the best advice I could give them? And I always tell them to prepare for threats in your area, okay? This is not a tent that I would take out if I lived in, say, the rainforest, okay? I have done some work on it. I have kind of touched it up, and we're going to test it. We're going to put it out. We're going to test it and run it through its paces. This is a very inexpensive tent. Again, my channel, I like to cater towards people that are just getting started, maybe don't have $400 or $500 for some kind of 2-ounce, waterproof, stormproof, lightweight tent. So this is an option if you do what you got to do to make it a better tent. Now, first of all, these are available on Amazon. I will put a link down below. They're in my store as well. They're $22, okay? They're incredibly cheap. The reason I was interested in checking this out is because it's got the bathtub design with the plastic on the bottom, instead of just more of the same mesh that's on the tent on the bottom and requiring a ground cloth. Something like this, if you're putting in your bug out bag, you're not going to have a lot of time to set up a tent, put down a ground cloth, do this, do that. It's quick, it goes up fast, you're done, it's over with. So that's why I like it. It's got that plastic bottom on it that, even on a wet ground, you're going to stay dry with. You will need a mat to keep you, a sleeping pad or mat to keep you off the ground so you don't get freezing cold, but that's a nice option that it has. It comes in this bag here. I'm going to pull it out quick. We are going to go outside, set it up, and now I've taken this already out of the bag. I have sealed the seams on it, and I have waterproofed it, okay? Both seam sealer and waterproof spray are available at Walmart. They're in the camping section. If not, you can ask, where they'd be. So that is my modifications to this tent so far. I also plan on replacing the guy lines. The guy lines are made of some kind of cheap, rubbery, I don't know, it's a weird kind of thing. I'm going to use some paracord, and I'm going to do that as we set up today. I'm just going to change out to paracord. I mean, it's not something I need to put on video. You'll see it. So I'm going to change it out and use paracord. This is the bottom I was talking about. It's got that nice plastic bottom. And really, I've never had a tent before I started getting into this more. I've never had a tent that just had this kind of material on the bottom. I wanted all my tents have had this plastic on the bottom before. So anyway, let's dig into it. It is 6 feet 6 inches long, 4 feet by 6 inches wide, and what is it, 3 feet high? 29 square feet of space inside. So, there you go. It does come with the cheap stakes. We all know those cheap tent stakes. Again, an upgrade from Walmart to aluminum stakes is ridiculously cheap. I think they're 67 cents each. Those orange ones. These are the stakes I was talking about. But for its purposes today, I'm going to set this up as if, this is what I got. So I'm just going to set it up with these. Also, too, I don't want to put the other ones in the ground out there because the ground is damp, and I don't want to pound them in and have a hard time pulling them out just to set it up for a display. So it's got these stakes. You're going to need all of those. It's got 2 poles. Poles are kind of simple. 3-piece poles. One goes in the front, one goes in the back. Some people say this takes 2 people to set up. I doubt it. You'll probably be able to do this on your own. You just got to be, oops, wrong way. Just got to be a little careful. They just snap together like that. Here's a bottom. And there you go. There's your pole. These go through the eyelets in the top. And this does have eyelets in it. It's not just a place where you stick it up in there, a pocket. These actually have eyelets, so it's a little bit stronger. So that's pretty much the tent. Again, they are inexpensive tents. I did take this apart. I actually did it in my backyard. I sprayed it all down with waterproofing, and I did use the seam sealer. The seam sealer I'm talking about it comes in a little bottle like this and has a little brush on the top. And I went over all the seams on it. Although the seams on this are double stitched and seem to be in, I'm not seeing daylight through them. They seem to be pretty good. So we're going to set it up. Oh, I didn't show you the cord. This is that ridiculous, silly, bungee, weird kind of cord. So I'm going to replace this with paracord, and I'm also going to cut it to length because I want this to take up as small a footprint as possible. The side guy lines that come out from the side really could go from here to here down to the ground. They have it so it goes all the way out, and what happens is the middle of your tent sags. So I'm going to replace that as I set it up. But we're going to take it outside. The first thing I'm going to do is set it out and stake it down. All right, I got it out. I got it laid flat and staked out. I find it's easier to stake out the tent first, of course, before you try to put the poles in. You can probably see the little copper grommets. That's where these poles, whoops, dropping one already. That's where these poles are going to go in. So I'm going to, again, modify these ugly little orange things with some real paracord and show you how that goes together. All right, here is this with the paracord in. Much better. I'm going to cut that, well, let's do it this way. We cut that little frail end off there and just kind of burn the end nice and flat. There you go. I suggest doing this with almost all of these inexpensive tents. It's really not worth it to try and use, you know, whatever string they give you, because I mean, it's orange, it's bright, yeah, you won't run into it, but it's really, really cheap. And you can always buy orange paracord. I just happen to have this stuff here, so I'm using this. So what we're going to do with this guy, cut it to about the same length, is you want to put this in here and put this up and stand it up like that. Then you want to guy this out, okay? You're going to put this out like this, and you're going to guy this out. I'm going to tie a knot here and run it down to the ground with a guy wire, or a guy line like we just did. So give me a second and I'll get that set up. All right, probably took me a little bit longer because I changed out the paracord, but there's your thing. I've got my knot up top, running down into the ground right there, and this side is done. Now we're going to do the back. I got it tied off on the back now, and you want it good and tight so you don't get a lot of sag there. I'm going to take care of some of that with the rest of it, but if you get it good and tight like that, you'll get a nice straight area across. And I just have it run down with the new paracord down to that stake. And again, I'm probably going to upgrade these stakes, but for now they work. So let's move on. I'm going to do the sides, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Then we'll spray some water on it. All right, I got side guy lines on. I would say total time to set this up was probably about 15 minutes, and that's with changing out the guy lines. Now, the guy lines are a natural color, so I am going to have to mark them. But as you can see, came out pretty good. Got a little dent in the middle there, but it's all right. It's wide enough. Walk around the other side. There you go. It's all set. Let's give you a look on the inside. Hang on while I bring you in there. All right, so here you go. I like the bathtub plastic bottoms. I'm sorry. Got little pockets over there. You have a window on the other side. Odd thing about that window is it zippers from the other side. So you have to open it from the outside and then open the mesh, that no-seam mesh, from the inside. Kind of weird, but for 22 bucks, you really can't complain much. I can easily fit in that. I'm 6'2", and I have no problem getting in there. So what we're going to do next with this guy is we're going to spray him down with some water. I'm going to seal up the front over here, and we're going to spray him down with some water and see how well my seam seals and my waterproofing held. Alright, I got my garden hose. I don't have a sprinkler on the end of it, but we're just going to use my thumb and kind of simulate a bad rainstorm. I'm going to do this for a little while, see how it holds up. Then there's always the fun of having to dry it after. From what I can see, the water is just rolling right off it. But I'm going to give this a few minutes, and then I'll come back and show you the results. Alright, we'll walk around and see what it looks like from the outside. Then I'll take you inside. I did it for about 10 to 15 minutes. And it's nice and waterproof. The nice part is it's kind of humid, and as you can tell, kind of cloudy and rainy here today. But it seems to be drying up in some areas already. You can see how the water just beaded up on there. So this waterproofing, it's made for tents, and it's sold in Walmart. This waterproofing seems to work very, very well. You can see the front, excuse me while I move the tripod around my leg. You can see the front there. And yes, definitely I gotta get something on these so people can see them. Or just change out the paracord. Maybe I'll change it to orange or something. You can see it held up pretty well. So let's open it up inside and see what we're dealing with inside. See if we got puddles of water everywhere. Alright, I am not seeing any wet inside here. Now again, this was a preliminary test with a hose for about 15 minutes. You know, it wasn't some kind of crazy downpour. I think I see a drop. Yeah, I do see a drop in the corner there, one drop. And I see a little bit of dampness there. But again, if you're looking for a tent for bug out and you live in a rather dry climate like we are here in the desert, you know, you're not looking to survive huge rainstorms with this thing. But look at that. I mean, that's just from waterproofing. Cheap $22 tent. And it seems to do the job, you know. You can see there's no water anywhere in here, except where I dripped it here when I opened the door. I splashed a little water there, right down in here. That's just from opening the door. But, you know, I can't really complain. And again, too, if you're really looking to take this out and you're worried about rainstorms, I don't think it would be too difficult to pop a tarp over it. You know, just hang a tarp over it between two branches, or even just place a tarp over it and stake the tarp down if it's a big enough tarp. So there you go. That is the Stansport 2-person backpacking tent. Again, I would say it's more of a 1-person. And it is light. It's 3.8 pounds. It probably would be a lot lighter if we didn't carry those metal poles. If you'd have just used some kind of wood or something like that. But I like having it intact with the poles in it. So for $22 and a little bit of work, you can have yourself a pretty decent tent. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we will talk to you soon. If you guys have any other ideas on tents you want me to test out that are inexpensive, we can do the same thing, go through, waterproof it, seal the seams, and see how it holds up. But anyway, don't forget to check out the Amazon link down below. That's where this tent is, and if you don't want anything in the store, you can still do your shopping. Helps us make a little money on the channel to bring you more gear. And don't forget to check out our Thrive Life link down below. And as always, stay safe and stay prepared.